We are living in the golden age of Minecraft speedrunning. To see that, you don't need to look any further than the age of the world records in the three main categories. Each of them is only 1 week old. We've seen some amazing developments over the past several weeks. New strats led to the year-old 1.7 world record finally being broken, and then being broken again almost immediately. A speedrunner almost no one had heard of barely got the 1.16 world record. Then, the next day, broke it again, this time by over 1.5 minutes. But even that crazy improvement in 1.16 doesn't stack up to what DoyPingu was able to accomplish on March 1st, 2021. So without further ado, let's get into how a crazy new strategy was implemented to break the 1.14 world record by over 2 minutes. This is DoyPingu's 1713. If you enjoy our videos, I'd appreciate it if you could really quickly go check the subscribe button. Most of our viewers aren't subscribed, and don't say anything, but we're getting kinda close to 50,000 subscribers, which is insane. Thank you so much, and enjoy the video. The day before this run happened, the 1.14 world record was 19 minutes and 17 seconds by Johans. Due to the high activity in the category lately, a new record wouldn't be shocking, but nobody knew just how hard the record was about to get demolished. But before we get into what made DoyPingu's run so fast, let's look at how we got to this point. For most of its history, 1.9 through 1.15 used the strategy of trading sticks to Fletchers for emeralds to trade for ender pearls. This was fairly optimized, with the first sub 20 in the category coming from DMax on December 28th. But on January 19th, 2021, there was a turning point, as Korbanoes got the world record with completely different strats, ones that hadn't ever been used in a 1.14 world record before. These were called pirate strats, and they involve looting shipwrecks and ocean monuments to get iron for tools and gold for trading. By traveling to the Nether from the ocean and finding a village when they return, players could save time that would have been spent gathering wood in older strats. While the strategy was faster, it wasn't that much faster. The real benefit came from the consistency with which you could get deep into runs using pirate strats. Some runners started resetting seeds that could have potentially been good for runs using classic strats, just because ocean runs were more consistent and less high maintenance. This consistency was further demonstrated when Johans beat Korbanoes' record by 4 seconds on January 30th, which is where the record would stand a month later on February 28th. But the biggest problem with these runs was the village element. Players would have to rely on finding a village from an ocean almost 10 minutes into runs, which resulted in many time-draining resets. Add that to the already existing issue of the cleric only offering ender pearls to trade 2 out of 3 times, and pirate strats definitely had plenty of potential to frustrate runners. But there was one idea that could only be implemented in rare cases that can lead to a successful ocean run without that village element interfering. And on top of that, this idea could save an insane amount of time. Enter hostage strats. In ocean strats, instead of trading sticks, you're trading gold, which is sold by the same villager who trades you ender pearls, meaning you really only need one villager to trade with, assuming you get enough gold and emeralds from the structures you loot. The premise behind hostage strats is that if you spawn in a village which is on the coast of an ocean, you get a villager into a boat and take them with you as you play the ocean run. It sounds pretty simple, but actually getting the circumstances necessary to use this strategy is very rare. For one thing, while boats can swim across land, they can only move down blocks, not up. Unless you want to get redstone involved, which speedrunners don't, this means they have to be above sea level. Additionally, boating across land is really slow, so unless the village is within about 50 blocks of the coast, it's not really worth the time saved to kidnap the villager. Finally, when runners do pirate strats, they often rely on hay or stick trades to get the last few emeralds they need once they find a village. It's not that common to find all the emeralds and gold you need in one ocean run, so when runners do finally find a perfect seed for hostage strats, they're relying on that element as well. With all that being said, the crazy potential of hostage strats is pretty evident once you get into them. So, let's do just that. and break down DoyPingu's insane new world record. DoyPingu spawns on a beach, which is ideal for modern 1.14. He doesn't spot any shipwrecks immediately, but after running along the coast a little bit, he spots a village, which, given its proximity to the ocean, is just as helpful. As he enters the village at 45 seconds, you may notice a couple of things. First of all, he's using the old textures, which is an interesting contrast visually when watching ocean-dependent speedruns. Secondly, he seems to have been turned upside down, although it looks like he's learned how to run on his head. You may also notice that he's playing in hardcore, except he's not. He's using a texture pack to make the regular hearts appear as hardcore hearts, which is truly sinful. But he played block game fast, so I'll forgive him. After making some tools and a boat, he grabs a few beds, and then brutally kidnaps a villager. With a very convenient setup for hostage strats, he's able to leave the village at 2 minutes. With a lot of his efficiency coming from not getting bread, since he's going to be looting shipwrecks anyway, making very minimal tools, and only getting 5 beds, which is an even ballsier move than you might think. We'll get to why later. Ocean strats are pretty great in 1.16, largely because shipwrecks are so common. But in 1.14, they're even more common, meaning DoyPingu shouldn't have to go far to find a shipwreck. While he's traveling the ocean, I thought I should mention, the villager's name is Dale. Dale will never get to see his family again. Dale waits patiently while Pingu loots a shipwreck, which has 10 emeralds, which is great, as well as a decent amount of food. It only has 3 iron, so he grabs the buried treasure map and heads in that direction. Before he can get there, however, he spots another necessary structure, an ocean monument. Without an ocean monument, there's just no way a runner will be able to get enough gold to do pirate strats. After stopping for some underwater crafting, he turns down his render distance and loots the monument. As long as runners turn their render distance all the way down before they get too close to the monument, the Elder Guardian won't be loaded when they enter part of the monument, meaning they won't get mining fatigue. With his 8 gold blocks, Pingu is able to leave the monument at 5.5 minutes, where he'll now look for another shipwreck and a magma ravine, where he'll be able to enter the Nether. After finding a second shipwreck and getting the rest of the iron he'll need, plus some more food, he heads off for a magma ravine, which he's finally able to find at just over 7 minutes. You may be thinking, how is this run so fast if he's so late to enter the Nether? Well, trading has to take place on the second day of the speedrun, which means the runner is pace-locked to be done with the Nether and sleeping in the overworld by around 10:30. That means that while this is a slow entry, which to be fair is not as slow as it would be compared to 1.16, if Pingu can have a really fast Nether, he won't lose any time at all in the long run. And the Nether in this run, it's pretty much perfect. He spawns at a fortress and is at a blaze spawner within 20 seconds of entering. While his drop rates aren't amazing, his spawn rates are, and he's able to get 7 blaze rods in 4 cycles of about average spawn time. Leaving with 7 rods is a small risk because he has to use 1 rod to make the brewing stand, meaning if an Eye of Ender breaks, he may not be able to fill in the portal. Still, he's at 10 minutes, which means it's definitely worth it to leave at pretty much a perfect time for the day-night cycle. He's able to leave the Nether only 2.5 minutes after entering, which is coming close to a theoretically perfect Nether. After doing a bit of underwater snoozing, Pingu is ready to put Dale to use. But before he can do that, he spots a second ocean monument. This is great news, because the extra gold means he'll definitely be able to get all the pearls he needs. By 12:45, Pingu is setting up the platform he'll use to trade with Dale. Because he's so far from land, he has to build up off of some kelp, but it's only a minor inconvenience. With the platform ready, he capsizes Dale's boat, traumatizing him in the process, but luckily Dale is able to climb to safety. With only 1 villager trading and nowhere for Dale to go away from his work block, Pingu is able to get the trades done incredibly quickly, which is a huge benefit of hostage strats. About a minute after the trading starts, Pingu has his 12 pearls, and he heads off to find the stronghold, leaving Dale stranded to slowly die of thirst, abandoned and alone. Another big benefit of hostage strats, as well as pirate strats in general, is that you travel so far in the beginning of the run that by the time you're locating the stronghold, you're already very far from the origin, and in hostage strats, you're already in the ocean. This can lead to god-tier stronghold finds, which is exactly what happens in this run. This is the fastest stronghold location I've ever seen in a run without a blind travel, and even including those, it's only topped by that time BenX blinded straight inside the stronghold. As DoyPingu enters the stronghold at 14:30, I'd like to remind you that the world record is 19 minutes and 17 seconds. While he doesn't break into the portal room, he's quickly able to find the beginning of the stronghold. At this point, he openly admits nerves are getting to him, and his stronghold navigation is suboptimal. Still, he's able to find the portal room at 16 minutes, well ahead of world record pace. A truly terrifying sequence follows. But after all that struggle, he's into the end at 16:20. His good friend the Silverfish follows him through, which apparently the Minecraft gods don't like. Undeterred, DoyPingu heads for the middle, where he uses a lava bucket he grabbed earlier to make an obsidian block to do the modern one-cycle strat with. Now I'd like to remind you that he only grabbed 5 beds from the village. In 1.16, this would be very risky, because while the top runners can consistently 5-bed, when you're on this insane of a pace, taking big risks is very scary. On top of that, he doesn't have an extra ender pearl, meaning he'll have to read the dragon's perch as quickly as possible, and hope for a high perch to get to the middle in time. And to make matters even worse, one-cycling is actually harder in 1.14 than it is in 1.16. Simply put, the beds do less damage to the dragon, meaning DoyPingu has to be even more precise with his 5 beds than he would have to be in 1.16. This is the 1.14 version of him having to pull off a 4-bed at a pace 2 minutes faster than the world record. I've made a lot of jokes about the run throughout this analysis, and it's had its ups and downs to be sure. But at the end of the day, DoyPingu has gotten to a point that almost no one else could have, and now he's faced with one of the hardest clutches he'll ever have to perform. At 17:20, the dragon gets ready to perch, and Pingu reads it perfectly. Now, all that's left between him and world record is the one cycle. And, well, when has that ever stopped a truly great runner from making history? That's how DoyPingu demolished the 1.14 world record. But a very important question still remains. What is the true potential of this category? For a category that stagnated around the same area for so long, such a huge cut to the world record time might seem to indicate that there's not much left to improve on. But much like two-letter names 1209, I'm not worried at all about this record being beaten. With this run specifically, we can see the perfections that can be made in a pretty straightforward way. Firstly, while there are plenty of small things that could have been improved on the first day, the runner is pace-locked by the day-night cycle. Still, Pingu slept at 11 minutes in this run, meaning 30 seconds could have been saved with him still sleeping immediately after leaving the nether. On top of that, the monument he looted on the second day could have been looted on the first day, which would have saved about 45 seconds. These time saves could definitely have happened if the rest of the first day was more optimized. From Pingu spawning 45 seconds away from the village to him losing some time while locating the monument on the first day. His nether, trading, and stronghold location were close enough to perfect that we won't pull any time off of those. But if he had found the portal room exposed in the ocean, he would have been into the end a full minute and a half faster. Assuming the same dragon perch, that gives us a time of about 14 and a half minutes. I feel comfortable saying a sub 15 is the end goal of the category using current strats, similar to a sub 10 in 1.16. But another thing to point out is that this category isn't being nearly as heavily focused on, in terms of innovation, as 1.16, or even 1.7. There could definitely be some new innovations that bring 1.14 speedruns to a faster time than we ever imagined before. For now, I'm pretty happy with where we're at, and with DoyPingu's insane new record sitting on top of the leaderboard. That's about it for this world record analysis. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and leave a comment so more people can see the video. If you liked this video, I bet you'd like our other ones, and subscribing is always appreciated. Be sure to join the Discord and follow the Twitter as well if you're interested. The links are down in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.